This is In the Dirt with ASOTU.
We're here at the Kane Friends and Family Digital Success Conference. I'm with Jamie Butters. You know him, the editor of Automotive News. Jamie, thanks for taking a few minutes.
Glad to do it, Paul.
So you gave a little talk this morning, and it was kind of the view from Detroit. So we're in the room with a lot of retailers, and you're saying, like, this is what I think you should be paying attention to from your view, which is kind of above kind of the whole landscape, both nationally and internationally. So what did you talk about?
Yeah, I really wanted to focus on, my thing is dealers know more about auto retail. They've forgotten more than I'm ever going to know, right? So I'm not trying to tell them how to run their business. So I tried to really focus on the things they're probably not thinking about that might impact their business indirectly. So I spent about half the time talking about Tesla. You know, they've just grown so big, facing some pressures, but they put a lot of pressure on the dealers and the traditional automakers. So they need to really I wanted to have them take some time to understand Tesla's situation a little better. I also talked about the UAW, kind of the risk of a strike this fall.
That one specifically, you covered a few things, but that one was the one that kind of rung a bell in my head. And you said something really interesting. You said, I know this isn't really the time. Everyone doesn't want to talk about, like, how can we build our inventory? But you actually suggested that dealers, specifically for the domestics, might want to think about that. And why is that?
Well, because there's such a risk of a strike in the fall. You know, the last time around, there was a 40-day strike at General Motors that really, at the time, right, we always...
When was that? Do you remember?
2019.
Ancient history.
Right before the pandemic.
Right.
And so they lost a lot of production. And at the time, the Detroit 3 tended to carry too much inventory anyway. Everyone's been really low, and now they're starting to come back, especially at a lot of the Stellantis stores and some GM stores. And so you don't want to carry that all year. You don't want to carry a 100-day supply. But maybe come July, August, September, ramping up toward 100 again might be a good safety valve.
Having a month or two in the hopper,
especially of the most popular vehicles.
Just what everybody wants to hear, right? But I understand your job is to deliver the truth.
I'm trying, or at least help people look ahead and be prepared for what might be happening.
We often say around Automotive State of the Union that, like, we can't do what we do unless you're doing what you're doing. Providing so much value every day, day in, day out. Media is a grind, right? The news is a grind, right? There's always something new. What is kind of like your approach every morning when you come in? Like, give us a little insight into, like, what the morning of Jamie Butters looks like.
I'm
just taking notes really now. This is just personal consulting.
I have a lot of quiet time at home before I start my day. I get up and I meditate. I listen to the news and just kind of keep things chill.
Those two things seem like an oxymoron. I meditate and then I listen to the news.
I have to have a clear mind to take it all in. You know, it's such a fascinating industry, and there's so much going on. And I have a big team, several teams within Automotive News. So it's I come in, I read everything I can. I do the call with Canada at 9:30. We have our U.S. call at 10 o'clock. Then we put together the list of what stories we're going to talk about on the podcast. I try to answer some emails or put out fires.
Sounds like the day of a leader, right?
Yeah. So, and then, that's how I kind of get going each day. So, just take a deep breath and
here we go. Right?
Emails.
I totally get that. Last question. What are you most excited for in the auto industry for the next 12 months? We've been through a lot of challenges. There are a lot of things kind of emerging and bubbling to the top. What do you think represents the biggest point of growth for our industry as a whole?
Well, I think what's really fascinating is watching the EV space. Just this week, we finally got really clarity. It feels a little more permanent, at least for the next several months.
Permanent enough, right?
Yeah, permanent-ish, on what vehicles get $7,500, which ones get $3,750. I think for the brands that got boxed out because of where they make their vehicles or where their batteries come from, they can still get $7,500 to put toward leases, which can make them very competitive. And leasing overall is something that we're not seeing as much of as we used to. There's trade-offs involved, but one of the wins of leasing is getting back the used vehicles that you can sell.
Starting that cycle again,
market
right?
That's super supply constrained.
Well, great, Jamie. Thank you again for taking a few minutes. It's always good to spend any time we can with you, and thanks again for the meaningful work you do every day.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for watching this episode of In the Dirt with ASOTU. If you're new to our channel, make sure and mash that like and subscribe button. Also, check out some of these links for our other great podcasts and content.